Yeah, so addressing this question of the gallbladder polyps, in which the options were polyp greater than 1 centimeter or less than 1 centimeter polyp with PSC, age of greater than 50, and multiple sessile polyps. So if we see this is a direct question from Savastan, where they have mentioned that single polyp more than 1, age older than 50. In PSC, polyp less than 1 centimeter, there should be a less threshold for cholecystectomy. So if, as the question is taken from here, the answer would be multiple sessile polyps for this question. Yeah, so coming to this question, that is regarding the CTP score. So serum bilirubin, that is 2.6, would be given a point of 2. Ascites, which is mild, would be given a point of 2. Serum albumin, which is 2.9, again would be given 2 points. Mark lethargy and drowsiness, that is stage 2 or grade 2 HE, and that would be given point of 2. And PT time, that is 36 seconds or more than 24 seconds increased or raised, that would give pointer of 3. So if you see, according to that, 2 plus 2 plus 2, 6 plus 2, 8 plus 3, 11. So according to that, not 12, but 11 is the answer for this question. So markedly lethargic and drowsy would come under stage 2 hepatic encephalopathy. That is, which of the following is not a risk factor for a cholangiocarcinoma? I feel the majority of the HPV questions are from Savastan, straightforward questions. So according to the Savastan, they have taken the question from here. The answer is portal biliopathy. For the, which is not a risk factor for cholangiocarcinoma. Moving on to next, I think this question you guys need to help me out. What was the question? What was the scenario given for a post-surgery bile leak? Can anybody help out with the questions in this? Okay, so if suspected bile leak, post-operative patient with fever, rigor, next back. Okay, so was a collection given, pericholecystic collection given or not? Okay, clinical diagnosis of bile leak. The next investigation would be USG. Yeah. So anytime, whenever we have any post-operative patient, if the CT scan was CT scan in the option. So yeah. So according to the options what they have given me, so if we see, to just basically understand in bile leak, first you need to see for if there is any collection. Okay. If there is a collection, you drain it. Okay. And before that, in ultrasound, if you have a collection, you go for a CECT, you drain it, then you go for MRCP to grade the injury. So this is the flow usually, because usually the conventional teaching is that if you have a collection, MRCP won't be helpful. So in that scenario, see, even if the collection is there, you don't do HIDA, okay? You directly don't do ERCP, okay? That is for sure. For the collection, was it given or the clinical was given? I think many of you are having some discrepancy in this. Was collection given or not? But I feel the best answer would be USG in this. ERCP is not done immediately when you are suspecting a bile leak. You need to be, okay. So I think majority have told that there is no collection given. So we'll move on. Next, post-cholecystectomy, a patient with CBD stone 1 year later, most likely diagnosis retained stone, a direct question. That is, they can be identified up to 2 years after cholecystectomy. So the answer here is retained stone. Moving on to next, this is again a straightforward direct question from Savastan. That is, they have taken lines from this paragraph of ERCP-induced pancreatitis. So I think the question was, which is true in that high-risk patient, it can occur up to 50% of the cases. So it occurs more in females and younger patients, more common in therapeutic, not diagnostic. Octreotide is not useful in post-ERCP pancreatitis. So the best answer is D. That is, high-risk patient, it occurs in up to 15% of the cases. Next, which is not a contraindication of transcystic approach of lab CBD exploration. Again, direct straightforward question. Can you guys help me with the option D? Was it none or was it something else? Yeah, I'll request everybody to please kindly mute themselves. Yeah, so can you guys help me out? What were the options here? Are the options correct here? Yeah, so for this question, I think what they have taken is they have taken a question from this table from shorts of chapter 4, wherein the splenectomy is mentioned in second line. And the third line is thrombopoietin receptor agonist, combination of first line, second line, and combination chemotherapy. So the B is correct in this. Thrombopoietin or thromboplastin receptor agonist is correct in this. Combination of first line and second line, that is corticosteroids with thrombopoietin receptor agonist, is also Correct. So the answer here is splenectomy according to this table. And I feel this question is taken because they have asked the wording of first line, second line, and third line. So the answer here would be splenectomy. So now next question, again a straightforward question from Sebastian that is regarding the staging laparoscopy for ripples. And the answer here is CA99 up to 50. Again, a very straightforward question. CA99 above 100 is usually the indication for doing a staging laparoscopy. Okay. Next, which is not an indirect measure of pancreatic function. Now, many of you were discussing from Bloomgard, but I think the question has been taken from Shorts here, wherein they have mentioned the indirect measurement are bentiromide, fecal fat, chymotrypsin elastase. So, according to this, what they mentioned, and fecal fat is also not a direct test. So according to this, the best answer would be Lund test. So I feel that it also matters that where do they take the question from, because accordingly the answer would be different. It's because if you go by the Bloomgard, which is more accurate, the option does not make sense. But if you go by Shorts, the options make sense, and that is the answer here.
Yeah. So coming to the question of massive transfusion protocol and regarding the platelet count, how much should we maintain about what? So I feel that the question has been taken from Shorts, because also there has been question of ITP, which has also been taken from the same chapter. So according to this, the platelet counts above 1 lakh has been given in the table here. So according to this, as I feel that the question has been taken from this, the answer should be 1 lakh and not 50,000. Okay.
Tracheal shift to opposite side. What is the next step in management? Okay. So this is mostly a case of tension pneumothorax. Okay. So according to this, the answer is tube thoracostomy or ICD placement. Tube thoracostomy of the needle is not the conventional one. You directly do not do a pericardiotomy in a tension pneumothorax. If you go by, I think the trauma questions are taken majority from Bailey. And according to that, also treatment is immediate decompression. And if you see, read the lines, I have mentioned that initial historically it was considered to put a in second intercostal, but now it is basically putting a chest tube in the fifth intercostal space. Okay, so that is why the answer here is tube thoracostomy. So see, if tracheal shift to opposite side is there, it is pointing towards tension pneumothorax. Okay. You have mentioned it as a needle decompression, subxiphoid pericardiotomy, finger followed by tube, and thoracotomy. So I think if needle with ICD is there, that would be the best answer in this. Okay. Yeah. So the needle with ICD, needle followed by ICD is the best answer here. So if you go by, I have gone through Sebastian, Schwartz, and Bailey. So if you go by Schwartz as well, they have mentioned that you go by needle thoracotomy followed by ICD. So if that is the option and they taken from, yeah. So the answer would be needle followed by ICD. Moving on to next, that is triage about a moribund patient with multiple fractures, depressed skull fracture, and pulseless. The answer here is black. Yeah. Yeah, so that question, it's clear, needle followed by ICD is the answer. Next, triage question, black is the answer. I think this was a very straightforward question, that is pulseless patient. Next, history of pelvic fracture, which is suggestive of urethral trauma, that is blood at meatus. If they have taken from Bailey, there's a straightforward line, that is inspection of urethral meatus, revealing a drop of blood indicates urethral damage. So I think this is also very straightforward question, and I think there is no issues in that. In between, for any kind of question discrepancy, if you have, please immediately write in the chat box. I am continuously having a look at that. So next, they have mentioned about the open pneumothorax with the 4 centimeter chest wound. Again, I think they have taken a straightforward question from Bailey, which we have given that you tape on 3 sides and then you insert ICD in a site remote from injury site. So for that, plaster on 3 sides and chest tube at different site is the answer. So in the pelvic trauma, what was the question? Again, I think some of you have some discrepancy. Okay. So if this is the exact question, the answer is very straightforward. Yeah. So see, high riding prostate, you will not be able to immediately judge on clinical examination when you do, because you have to do a PR examination that may not be too much accurate. But blood at meatus is usually most suspicious of a urethral trauma. There's also the conventional teaching. So that would be the answer here. Yeah, most suspicious urethral meatus blood is the answer. For open pneumothorax, I think this is a very straightforward question and options are fine. The answer is plaster on 3 sides and chest tube. Yeah. Next, At what gestational week do primordial germ cells migrate and form the genital ridges? I think one of the resident has taken directly from the Campbell review. So this is the answer here. 5th week, that is the answer for this. That is the gestational week. Primordial germ cells migrate and from the, that is during the 5th week, the primordial germ cells migrate from the yolk sac and they populate the mesenchyme, and this will lead to the future gonad. Pseudo kidney sign or longitudinal ultrasound is associated with which of the following? And I think the answer was straightforward, but can you just help me out with the other options? What is the diagnosis asked or something else asked in this? See, it is not about Campbell. I think there's it's a exact dicta copy from the Campbell urology review where the answer is 5th week, and I don't think there would be any change in this. The answer is 5th week here because there is no change of wording. There's a copy paste question from the Campbell review, so this is the answer in this. You see Crohn's, ischemic colitis, and intussusception. Intussusception is the answer here. So I think was Meckelson an option in this? Moving on to this, that is pediatric GCS. I think they have taken direct question from the Bailey. We'll move on. That question, don't worry. I'll again search for better images and reference and try to answer it. So next question, that is regarding a child with spontaneous eye opening, irritable cry, withdrawal to touch. That is again they have taken from directly from Bailey. That is eye opening spontaneous. That is irritable cry, and there is withdrawal to touch. So that would be giving us 5, 4, 9, and 4, 13. Answer would be 13 in this. So I think this is it. Next are some neuro questions where I am trying to find some proper references because they have not taken any neuro questions from Bailey, Sapiston, or Schwartz from the preliminary scroll.